I know we talked kind of off air a little bit about a piece that you're also writing, which is a longer work. I think a lot of what I know of your music is kind of octavo length pieces, like the music of Stillness or Oh Love or all the pieces we love. Still with Lee, which you wrote for my
Yeah.
college choir. But now you're writing an extended work with multiple movements and string orchestra. Again, kind of what's that writing process like, and how is it different than writing a 5 minute piece?
Right. So I am obviously super excited about this piece. And this is the current piece that I'm working on right now. So as you mentioned, most of the pieces that I work on, the most of the commissions I get are 3 to 5 minute pieces. And so I'll find one text and I will explore some musical ideas. And I'm usually pretty efficient in my writing because most people don't want it to be like a 5.5 minute piece is actually a pretty long piece for choral
Mm-hmm.
music.
Mm-hmm.
But now, with the opportunity to write a 20, 22, 25 minute piece, I have 5 movements mapped out, and I've been researching this. I've been wanting to do this project for a couple years now, and finally, it's the time in my schedule, in my commissioning writing schedule, where I really get to dig into these texts. And what I'm enjoying about the process is I can really develop these ideas. Whereas I might try to accomplish an idea in 8 measures and then move on. Well, I can expand that to 16 or 30 and develop that and have a little bit of an instrumental interlude and use the strings, maybe have a little bit longer introduction to a movement. And then what I'm really excited about is the fact that it's creatively exhausting sometimes to write so many smaller pieces. But
Mm-hmm.
what I'm loving is that I can take a little element, and actually, the very first part that I wrote was an element of movement four. And why would I write movement four first? Well, it's because there's this little musical motive that I want to be able to weave in movement one, movement two. And then when it appears fully in movement four, you think, oh, you see the full picture. And then I get to expand that idea. So movement number five is going to have some mirroring elements that you heard in movement one. And so just an opportunity to really tell a story, have this narrative that it doesn't have to be accomplished in 4 minutes. It could be 24 minutes. And to develop the musical ideas, tell the story, have the drama of the tension and the dissonance of the story. You know, every good story is going to have a conflict, but how is it going to be resolved? And then you already know, spoiler alert, I'm a sucker for a happy ending. So there will be, of course, a happy ending at the very end of the fifth movement. But there's going to be a journey and how we get there. And there's going to be just some rawness and some honesty too. I feel like every piece that I write is a little snapshot of my life. And so when I write music of stillness, that's a snapshot of what I was experiencing at that time in my life and what was I feeling and why was I drawn to that text. And there was a little bit of loneliness, and you hear that there's a little bit of ache, but then there's also hope and there's beauty and then there's coming together. And when I write a fast joyful piece, well, you're going to that's a fast joyful, that's a snapshot of my life when things were great. And
Mm-hmm.
when I write oh love, well, maybe that was a snapshot of when, I was kind of in a valley at that time, but it produced this dissonance, produced hope, and knowing that the mourn, there will be no more tears. Mourn shall tearless be. And so I feel like this extended work is a snapshot of, the 6 months of what we're living in. And, maybe things were great in the beginning, but, things kind of took a shift and caught all of us off guard and were really unsuspected. And how do we process that? And where does that leave us? And the hope that I have for us as humanity and also the choral world. And I think all of those emotions that I've been feeling, that we've all been feeling, it's kind of been like this. And all of that is going into this extended piece. And so